Hello all, my name is Krishnayak and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, we are into the tutorial 4 of Julia programming language, and in this video we are going to see strings. We'll try to see how we can create strings, what are the different inbuilt functions. Apart from that also we are going to see a lot of operations. In my previous video I've already given you the basic functionality like how you can actually create strings in Julia, and it is almost like Python programming language. But here we are going to deep dive into many more things as such. So to begin with, first of all, whenever we are talking about strings, if we have multiple words, right? If we have more than one characters, I can definitely consider that as a words. And if I have more words, I can consider that as a sentence, right? So initially you should know how to create characters. So in this case, you will be able to see that characters over here can be defined by single inverted commas. Okay. So if I try to define something like this, so suppose if I write n, so this n will be a character. And it is always denoted by an AXI or Unicode, by this, right? So this is a kind of Unicode. You can also convert a character into a Unicode also. Always remember that. Each and every Unicode is unique with respect to different characters. Okay. So this is the thing. More information about it, you will also be able to see that you'll be getting information like whether it is uppercase, lowercase. Like if I make it as small n, so definitely I'll be getting it as lowercase. And this is basically a category L1, which is also called as letter. Okay. So remember, in Python programming language, let it be a single character, let it be multiple number of words, let it be a whole sentence. I can write it in both single quotes or double quotes. But in case of Julia, whenever we are writing string, whenever we are writing characters, we have to actually use single inverted comma. Okay. So here is another example where I've actually written K. So here you can see that K is over there. And for this, again, you have a different unique Unicode, right? So here you have capital K like this. Now the next thing is that we can convert this character into integers. How do we convert it? By default, we have this int, right? So int function is over here. Whatever functionality, whatever key character I'm giving inside this, it will automatically get converted into a unique integer, which is representing that particular character. Okay, so this is basically 75, it is representing K. If I make it as small l, then it will become 108. If I really want to go and check capital A, I'll be getting 65, right? So here you'll be able to see different unique integers with respect to that particular character. Not only that, I will also have probably for a special characters like suppose if I take let me take some more characters like Q, right? So here you'll be able to see that I'm getting 113. Now similarly, with respect to this, if I can also convert this integers into characters, right? How do I use it? I'll be using an inbuilt function which is called as char, and here I'll be providing 75. Like in this particular case, 75 is nothing but K, right? If I give 113, so this will actually be Q, right? So these are some of the basic functionality. We can convert the characters into strings, character into integers, integers into characters, and various things, right? Each and every character is represented by this unique values. We can also use some comparison operators, like I can write int capital K is less than int K, right? In this particular case, obviously I'll be getting true, because if I go and find out what is int K, then you will be able to see that I will be having some values over here, which is like 107. Okay. And if I say capital K is nothing but how much it is? Let's see. For capital K, I will be getting 75. So obviously 75 is less than 107. So we are getting it as true. I can also perform arithmetic operations, like in characters. If I'm performing arithmetic operation, like suppose K is over here, right? If I say K plus 1, that basically means JKL, right? After capital K, then we have capital L. So if I execute this, you'll be able to see capital L over here, right? Which is pretty amazing, right? If I also make it like plus 2, KLM. So here probably I'll be getting M. If I write plus 25, then I'm actually getting D. So we can actually write that whole ABCD, right? And we can assign values to that. And based on that, this particular operation is actually taking place. Now let's see whether multiplication will also work or not. So here you'll be able to see that this kind of operation will not work. But if we really want to increment with respect to characters, we can definitely use plus. Okay. Now let's go towards the string basics. So here, in order to write a string, here we had just written character, right? But whenever we are writing word or sentences, we have to basically use double quotes. And in my previous session, that is tutorial 3, I had actually explained about it. Okay, so here you can see, hello, my name is Krish. Okay, now let's start with some of the inbuilt keywords in string. Okay, so whenever I use, and here this is nothing but slicing operations also, guys. Here I'm also going to discuss about slicing operations. Okay, and this slicing operations is similar to the Python programming language, like whatever we discussed over there. Okay, now inside this, whenever suppose I want to take out this h, and we know that this h is the first character of the string, right? I just want to take out h. In order to take out that h, the first character, I can definitely give this value as 1. Okay, if I give str of 1, I'll also be getting h. If I give str of 0, right, I will be getting an error. This basically shows that the indexing in Julia programming language starts from 1, whereas in Python programming language it starts from 0, right? I hope everybody knows that. So if I write str of 1, then only I'll be getting h. Now if I want to just get the first character, I can also use an inbuilt keyword which is called as begin. Okay, so by executing this here also, you'll be able to get the first character. Like how you have begin, we also have end to get the last character. So here you can see, hello, my name is Krish. The last character is h. So if I really want to execute this, I'll be able to get this, right? So by this, we are actually able to get it. Now, suppose I want to pick up any single character, like suppose I want to pick up this O. So O will be present in which index position? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I write str of 5, right, I will actually be getting this O symbol, right? Pretty much simple. This is the lowercase. Now, this is my str1 hello. Okay. And if I use a length, like in Python, you have len, right? Here you have length. So if I go and find out this length, it is basically str1. Now let's try with respect to str1. Okay. Now suppose if I really want to get the first character, by using indexing, I can use square braces and I can provide that a particular index number. Suppose if I provide 1, I'll be getting h. If I provide 3, I'll be getting l, right? If I provide 5, I'll be getting o. But if I provide 6, it will give me an index out of bound. That is the bound array attempts to access string, right? So always remember, it similarly works like Python. I can also give like slicing operation. I can say from 1 till 3, I want all the characters. So 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. So here, when I execute it, I'll be actually getting like this. Now, one thing that you need to focus over here, guys. When I started indexing and I gave this range as 1:3, in Python, this will behave a little bit in a different way. Let me just create a new notebook file and show it to you. Suppose if I write str is equal to hello, and this is with respect to Python, guys. Just see this, okay? Hello, okay? And here I will write str1:3, right? Sorry, I'll not just make this as str, but instead there also is an inbuilt keyword in Python. So I'll execute this, and here I will write str1:3. So here you will be able to see that it starts from one index, okay, and it will just read within the third index, right, el. But in this case, whenever we are giving 1:3, it is basically starting from the first index, which is my first value, and then it goes till the third index, right, and it picks up all the character, right. In this particular case, suppose if I am giving 3, before 3, how many characters are there, it will try to pick up in that specific range. So that is the basic difference between Python and Julia. Okay. There are also some inbuilt function in Julia, which is called as first index. By just writing first index, and if you provide your string 1, you'll be able to get the index number of this string 1. So first index value is h, first index is 1. So by this you will be able to get 1. Last index you will be able to get what is the length of the string, or word. Okay. So here it is. So the next thing is that you can also perform some operations inside the indexing slice, right? The slice where you're providing, or indexing techniques that you're providing, you can also provide some kind of operations. Remember one thing, guys, here I have written end divided by 2. We know that if I go and use end over here, it is basically going towards the last character. Now here I'm actually going to specify end divided by 2. End basically means 5, right? Because hello 1, suppose this is my string, right? Over here I have 5 words. 5 divided by 2, okay, it will be 2.5. And you see over here 2.5, and when I'm picking it up, I'm basically picking up the E. So it is basically going towards the floor side. 2.5 instead of 2.5 it takes 2. If it takes 2, since I have hello over here like this, if I have hello over here, then that basically means it is going to pick up this particular character, that is E, right? Pretty much simple. And remember guys, the division symbol you will not be giving like this. If you give like this, it will not work. It will give you an error with respect to indexing. But instead you'll try to give something like this, okay? Only that is the thing, but numerical operation, you'll be using that division only. And this or that technique is also there. It says end minus 2. End minus 2 basically means this is my end, minus 2, 1 and this, you will be basically getting L. So here you will be getting this particular value, that is L, right? Pretty much simple, pretty much easy, right? In Julia, you can also pick up the substring from a particular sentence. Like in this particular case, I have written str, okay? So str you're getting as Julia programming language. So once you execute this, and now you can use substring, okay? Substring, this is a function over here, and if you press shift tab, it says that it returns a view into the parent s with a string I:z. Let's see what it is. First of all, I'll give my string value over here. Then I'll write 1, 5. Now what this is 1, 5 says that between the index of 1 to 5, I want to pick up the substring. So by this, you are actually getting Julia over here, right? So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I change this, suppose I want between 10 to 15, probably I have that. So here you'll be able to see that it is picking up this particular value, okay? And if you go and see the type of substring, it will be a substring type, okay? Substring type. Now, the next operation which I had already taken, this is called as concatenation operation. In concatenation operation, I can combine two sentences like str1, str2. Suppose if I go and execute this, you will be seeing Krish Naik, right? Now, if I really want to concatenate this, so I'll be using the string class, and inside this I'll say string1, string 2. Now by this, you'll be able to see that I'm writing Krish Naik, right? I can also give one additional space between this and I can execute this. So here you can see that I'm getting Krish Naik, okay? Now similarly, you'll be able to see that I can also add any number of words to concatenate, but by using the string, we can concatenate any number of words. Let it be inside a variable, let it be inside a let it be a string character, let it be anything as such, okay? So we can actually combine any number of words, okay? The next thing is basically called as interpolation. Now in interpolation, we can actually do something very much amazing, which again I had shown in my previous class. Suppose I say my first name, last name is Krish Naik and my date of birth is 1990. Now I can print this in a very amazing way. See, I can write my first name is, suppose I want to basically write down the variable over here, okay? I really want to write down or place this particular value like Krish. I want to place this particular value, this placeholder like Naik. At that time, I can just use dollar first name. Then I can actually write dollar last underscore name, and I can say my age is dollar 2020 minus DOB. See, whenever we write this dollar, this is basically just like replacing a variable in that specific placeholder. Okay, so here you can see my first name over here, I'm writing it as Krish. My last name, I'm writing it as Naik, and my age is 2020 minus DOB. So once I execute this, you'll be able to see that I'm getting this. My first name is Krish, last name is Naik, and age is 30. So in short, what is this interpolation is that we can use dollar operation inside a string and we can perform any mathematical operation like how we have performed over here. So here you'll be able to see 2010. Similarly, I had shown you with respect to if you really want to write a string in multiple lines, you can use triple quoted string literals. So here is the way that how you can actually show it. And these are some of the common operations like 1 plus 2 is equal to 3 I've written in string. But here I've done some computation like $1 plus 2. This will also give me the same output. So it is actually giving the true symbol, right? Similarly, I can do the comparison like Krish Naik is double equal to Krish space Naik. It will give us false. Like this, lot of inbuilt function, lot of operations are actually there. So I hope you like this particular video with respect to tutorial 4. I'll be putting up this whole code in the GitHub. You just try it by yourself and make sure that you watch this video from the first tutorial of Julia if you are new to Julia itself. The playlist link will be given in the description. So I'll see you all in the next video, and please do subscribe the channel and share with all your friends, guys. And yes, please do learn it. Yes, and it will be a pretty amazing thing. So I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Thank you and all. Bye bye.